All right, thanks for checking in this on our screencast lesson launch. Coming at you from the little office I've set up here at home. It's 5:45 in the evening on Monday. This is my last task of the day before I settle in, a little din-din, a little family time. All right, so today we're going to start to build our unit circle. We're going to locate some of those common angles from the past. We're going to revisit standard position of an angle that came up last class. We're going to talk a little bit about that radian and degree conversion, a splash here, and then whether an angle is positive or negative and that implication. And we're also going to talk about coterminal angles. So it first tells you or we ask you to draw a circle and to put some axes on it. And you can see I've already got that drawn here. I prepped that. So I want to start by just reminding ourselves that this is going to be considered the initial side. So this is our positive x-axis. This is always where we're going to start drawing our angles, no matter what. So this is our initial side. This is our positive x-axis. Okay. And then when I'm asked to draw, or locate, I should say, if I'm asked to locate, let's say, 3 pi over 4. So if I'm asked to locate 3 pi over 4, I might start to consider some of that conversion from last class. So 3 pi over 4 radians. So I know that pi radians is the same as 180 degrees, which is really just half of our circle. So here would be pi radians. Keep my unit of measure involved there. This would be 180 degrees. So if I'm looking at 3 pi over 4 radians, I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at 3/4 of half of my circle. 3/4 of half of my circle. So I would conjecture that I am somewhere in the zone here, because that would be 3/4 of half of my circle. So I could span this guy, and that's half of my circle, and then I gotta go another half. So I'm really looking to locate this guy right around here. So I could locate this as 3 pi over 4 radians. I could also consider, I know that 180 is pi, so if I wanted to think about this in a different unit of measure, I could just call pi 180 degrees. And then that would tell me that this would be 135 degrees. A little quick math there. So I could also refer to this spot as 135 degrees. However, when we get to our unit circle unit, weird. We're definitely going to be working in radian land. So make sure you're comfortable working in that space. Okay. The degrees are a good support system, but I want us thinking about radians. So that's part of today, is you're going to go ahead and use our relationship from last class to locate several of our very common angles. And why don't I get another extra vocab word out there while this is out here? So this, I want to add a little vocab there. I would call this the terminal side of my angle. Okay. Continuing a little bit of vocab here, this is the direction of opening is that way. And when it opens that particular direction, which would be counterclockwise, we say that we're working with a positive angle. And just to, if you recall, we use the symbol theta. Okay. Now, if we would have opened in the other direction, so let's say we opened clockwise, we would refer to this would be a negative angle. So direction of opening tells you, like if you have a positive angle, you're going to open counterclockwise from the initial side to the terminal side. If you're a negative angle measure, then you're going to open from the initial side to the terminal side. So when we first were talking about these measurements, we were really working with that positive angle measurement that we highlighted earlier. Now, if I wanted to think about this as a negative angle, I would, instead of going 3/4 of pi, I would have had to go pi, and then, so I'd have to go this whole pi, and then another of 1/4 of a pi. So in this case, if I wanted to name this angle differently, I could name it as negative 5 pi over 4 radians, otherwise known as negative 225 degrees. Does that seem right? We always got a little check here. So does that add up to 360? Because if I go positive 135 and negative in the other direction 225, they better add up to 360. They do, so that's a good check. Now, let's add our final vocab word here for today that we need is this term called coterminal angle. So this and this, these are considered coterminal. Same location, different measure. And what's fun is I could actually come up with like a gazillion different coterminal angles, because anytime I can spin around this thing like a lot if I wanted. So let's just say, let's go 2 pi, and then, whoa, weird, and then another, just let that go, then another 3/4. So I could actually create a whole nother coterminal angle because I did 2 pi and I still went that 3 pi over 4. So I'm still in the same location. Ooh, good times for fractions. I'll call that 8 pi over 4 instead of 2 pi plus 3 pi over 4. So this another coterminal angle for that same location could be 11 pi over 4 radians. And I mean, I could do this for a long time. We could just keep spinning and spinning and spinning, or I could spin in the negative direction if I wanted. Let's see, we have, well, not color choice, it's gray. So let's say if I went, you could go the other way and be like, okay, so negative 2 pi, and then negative 5 pi over 4. So we went negative 2 pi, and another negative 5 pi over 4. Get to hang out with fractions again. So let's call that negative 8 pi over 4. And then I'll just minus 5 pi over 4. Negative 13 pi over 4. So we've got ourselves another coterminal angle for that same one. So in today's lesson, you're going to locate common angles on your unit circle. A little bit of a review from last year. So anything that's like 30 degrees, it's basically, we're thinking like a third of the way in. So like, talks a lot about thirds and halves, other thirds, and you locate a bunch. There's about 3 in every quadrant, plus these endpoints here. Okay. And then you do a little bit with positive angles, you do a little bit with negative angles, and you do a little bit with coterminal angles. So just kind of getting your head back into the unit circle game. Ooh, one last fun fact. These ones that land on the corners here, I call them corners. These are called quadrantal angles. Doesn't come up today in our lesson, but it's a super fun word. Quadrantal angles. So that'd be this guy up here. This guy over here would be a quadrantal. Like I said, any of the corners are quadrantal angles. Cool. So have yourself a good time today. Visit the unit circle again from the past and reach out to Mr. Lawrence or I, Mrs. Greenwood, if you have any questions. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.